Hi, all. I always anticipate getting online, and I guess I'll never get used to the technology, but so be it. What I'd like to do today is start off by backing up to last week when we were talking about the fact that self-love really means self-respect. The biggest problem that I find with people is they want to lose weight, and the reasons are varied. No question about it at all. But it all boils down to I want, but I don't want to be restricted. And so many people feel deprived. And what we talk about is if you really respect yourself, if you really care about yourself, if you're really giving to yourself, and that's the reason you're doing the program, then how can you be deprived? It's all psychological. It's not physiological. And because it's psychological, it's time we tend to focus. What I've been noticing, and it takes me about an hour and 10 minutes to drive down to the Clark office, that there are really on days and off days, and you can't predict them. But one of the things that I find is that everybody is in a rush. I have a tendency to drive in the left lane, and at the northern end of the Garden State Parkway, it's 65 miles an hour. I go into the left lane. I set my cruise control at 73. Speed limit is 65. And off I go, and I don't have to make any turns because I'm going to be driving 40 or so miles, and off we go. Last Thursday, I'm coming down the Garden State Parkway, and all of a sudden, there's this huge, I don't know, let's call it an SUV behind me. I'm doing 73. I'm passing the cars in the right lane, and he is flashing his lights, and he is beeping his horn, and he's flashing his lights. And all of a sudden, there was an opening on the right. He passed me by as though I were doing 25. I was doing 73. And off he went. About a mile and a half later, I'm there behind him. And I controlled myself. I was going to beat my horn and flash my lights, but I controlled myself. For the next 40 miles, he passed me, I cannot tell you how many times. I never got out of the left lane. I didn't seem to have a problem with any other driver. And in the last 2 miles, because traffic had built up, I actually passed him and got off the parkway before he did. This seems to be a norm for many people. And what I find is that we need to take a look at it, because the social aspect of today's modern society is I want it now, I can't wait, how do I get it, how is it going to happen? And from my point of view, maybe not your point of view, but from my point of view, people do not know how to stop and learn and live. The other thing that I'd like to talk about is the different world that we live in. I cannot tell you how often I get a comment from someone on the program who says, I'm bored. And I think back to when I was much younger. And when I was bored, I was told, go do something. I was told, go out. Go meet with one of your friends. Go read a book. There was always something to do. And boredom was really not a word. Yet now, Dr. Schwartz, I'm bored with the program. Now, in my mind, bored means that I need to be doing something. I need to be occupied. And the stress that's caused by this is incalculable. I noticed last night, I wanted to watch some TV. There were no programs that interested me. And I turned to Netflix. And I was astonished at the number of selections that there were. I believe that you could spend 6 months if you watched one after the other, and never come up from air. And you would be entertained. And I put that in quotes. We need to face these things. And I'd like to look at them in very concrete kinds of ways. Example number 1. I got a call from a woman who has about 80 pounds to lose. She's lost about 25, doing nicely, and says to me, Dr. Schwartz, I'm going on vacation, or at least a semi-vacation. I'm going out of state to visit family. I'm going to be staying with them. And I want to put the program on hold. I said, okay. We worked out a plan. She was going to be off the program. She was going to control her eating. We had laid out an eating plan for her and a vacation plan. And she was gone for 2 weeks. I got a call when she came back. Dr. Schwartz, I'm ready to restart. Here's my weight. Can I have my new point? She gave me her weight, and at the same time that she gave me her weight, she said, Dr. Schwartz, I gained 1.5 pounds. And I said, you gained 1.5 pounds in 2 weeks? You were eating, you were not on the program, you tell me you had a good time, and you say to me, I'm disappointed, I gained 1.5 pounds? You should be howling with joy. You controlled yourself. You didn't complain once in our conversation about the 2 weeks away and what you did. You gained 1.5 pounds and you can't congratulate yourself? She said, but I lost 2 weeks. And that's the thing. She lost 2 weeks. How many of us, including me, would like to find those 2 weeks over and over again? She minimized her success. She minimized taking care of herself. She minimized the fact that what she had done on a personal basis should have had her jumping for joy. Woman calls me on the phone. Dr. Schwartz, I can't do the program. I keep cheating. We talked a little bit, and what I found was that she was doing her own variation of summer social. So she was not on the program completely, and she was losing about 1.5 pounds a week. Never complained about it in the discussions that we had. Now, she made a choice. If you do the program, it gives you what it promises. If you don't do the program, it doesn't give you that same weight loss. But here's the key. How come this woman becomes invisible? It's just something that happened. But it's not something that happened. What's happening is my granddaughter will be home from sleepaway camp in 2.5 weeks, and I can't believe it's August. Where did the time go? That I cannot believe. What I can believe is that if we learn to be honest with ourselves, and this is the point that I want you to study. I want what I want when I want it now. When do we stop and say, I live in the real world? I don't know of anyone out there, including me, and I'm not out there, I'm here, who doesn't want something. All of us are together here because we want to lose weight. So let's stop for a minute and let's hear what we're talking about in this I want what I want when I want it social environment, and how it's impacting on us and creating difficulty for you. We do not need to discuss AccuWeight. Every single one of you recognizes that if you're doing the program, it's because you know it works or you've been told that it works. And in all the years that we've been in business, that has never been an issue. The issue is, very simply, how do I conduct myself with regard to the program, and what do I need to do in order for me to feel successful, progressing? The first thing is, let's take a look at this word, boredom. I've got to be busy. Now, all of us have things to do, but many of us have lost the awareness and ability to entertain ourselves. There are so many things that can be done. And if you do the things that occupy you and focus you, and you feel you've made yourself useful, that's going to feel terrific. Food is only a problem because you said, I want to lose weight. If you did not want to lose weight, it would be meaningless to discuss food, because food only comes into the picture because we're on a regimen that will lead us to weight loss. So, number one, do I respect myself enough to be honest with myself and accept the fact that if I'm going to lose weight, I am overweight, then two things are true. Number one, I've been taking in more calories than I'm expending. And number two, if I'm going to lose weight, then I'm going to have to eat differently. No matter what program you're on, if you want to lose weight, realistically, you need to change how you input food into you. Now, what is your motivation for being on the program? And don't say to lose weight. Many of the people I speak to want to lose weight, but their level of, let's call it motivation, is questionable. And because it's questionable, they have a problem with self-commitment. I want to lose weight. I want to lose it fast. Excuse me. But I don't want to change. Dr. Schwartz, can I? Woman on the program again has been doing summer social for a month now. And she has lost an average of somewhere between 2 and 3 pounds a week. We finished a month of summer social, and she says to me, Dr. Schwartz, I've lost only 9.5, 10 pounds. And I checked and I said, yes, it's 9.9 pounds. What's the problem? She said, well, you know I wanted to lose at least 20 pounds a month, and I've only lost 10. And I said, yes, but aren't you on summer social? Aren't you taking off at least 2 days a week? Yes, but I only lost 10 pounds. Do you see the disconnect? We want, but we're not connected to the real world. We're moving so fast that we don't see what passes by. Many years ago, I told a story about taking this group, 30 kids, yes, with chaperones, to a camp in the Catskill Mountains. And one of the experiences was camping out. There were bunks. And the other was something that people who'd gone to that camp before always did, and that was take a hike through the woods to a town that was nearby, spending some time in the town, and then coming back. I met the group on the way back. And one of the youngsters ran up to me and said, "Hey, Doc, we broke the record. We made the trip in," and I don't recall what the time was. And I said, "Fantastic. What did you see along the way?" And he and the others looked at each other and said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you walked through a forest. It took you time to get from here through the forest to get to the town. And then you spent time in the town, and then you went into the forest again and came back here. What did you see in the forest?" I said, "We're going to do this again tomorrow. Only instead of telling me you broke the record, I want you to set a new record. And that is, I want a list of all of the things you saw on the way out and on the way back again." I was really impressed, not with the number of things that they had seen, but the excitement and enthusiasm of sharing the different experiences that they had on that journey. We're on a journey now, and you want to get there before you've closed the door on your car. This is not Star Trek, where we push a button and you end up someplace else. This is a life experience that can heal you, that can change you, that can motivate you, that can help you become more of what it is that you want to be. Because human beings are machines, and how we treat that machine, both mentally and physically, is important. If you're bored, then what is it that you're saying? Boredom means I want you to entertain me. Now, I hope that this is part of the entertainment, and I appreciate any of you who enjoy this, but I'm here to educate you. I've been doing AccuWeight Loss for almost 26 years. The program has been official since June of 1997, but I started before that with Dr. Chu. I found immediately that the program, if done properly, works. But I also learned, and this is what's important, is that my imperfections, my wants, my needs, my thoughts interfered with the journey itself. The pressures of life, I had learned, can be given to distraction if, for example, I ate something. And I think I've told you the story of my daughter bringing me these special brownies from New York City over the years and telling everybody that she loved bringing these brownies to her dad because it took him an hour and a half to finish one. And the reason really was simple. I could have taken those brownies and just stuffed them into my mouth, and they were absolutely delicious. Wherever she purchased them, the store that made them did a fantastic job. And I loved those brownies. And I wanted them to last. And so I would take tiny little morsels of the brownie, enjoy the taste, and then another. And my daughter used to sit there and watch and talk to me, and it entertained her. But it fulfilled me. Because when I finished, I didn't need another one. One was enough. I could look forward to having it again, but I didn't need it now. In today's environment, with the socialization, you can answer anything at any time. You don't know? Get on your computer, look up, and you will find the answer. And sometimes you'll learn a great deal more. Nothing is secret anymore. Nothing is secret anymore. But it takes time. This is a critical time for all of us. We're coming out of this pandemic. And I call it pandemic because so many of you have put on weight because the pressures of being isolated and the fear and the anxiety has caused many of you to overeat, compounded by the lack of activity and exercise. That's changing now. If you deal with it properly, you do not need to be afraid. The program will cleanse and detoxify you. I'm vaccinated, and so I know, should I get the virus, because I am vaccinated, my symptoms and the intensity of my getting the virus is going to be minimized greatly. I know how to take care of myself. You know how to take care of yourself. But if you deny your own existence, you're going to use the old habits that brought you here. You won't feel fulfilled. And that's one of the things that I want you to learn. Someone asked me a long time ago, as I was getting married, someone just came up on my screen and it says, "Excellent advice. As soon as I shifted into life more presently and mindfully, I experienced a deeper level of self-awareness and my whole healing." All of us are machines. We're losing the weight, and let's be mindful of that, and let's be mindful for the reason that we're doing it. But let's also recognize that if we are doing it because we respect ourselves, that we care about ourselves, And the word respect is exactly what it is. You know, there's insanity out there. There are a lot of, let's call them wrongful people. And one of the things that I was asked when I got married, because pretty much everyone knew that I postponed marriage. I had too good a life. I didn't want to be tied down. And the reason I got married was not to make my life good. It was truly, from my point of view, it was good. I got married to make my life richer and fuller. I wanted to be better than what it was. And that's what we are all about now. Doing AccuWeight is to make you better and fuller and richer as a person, because it's going to teach you about yourself. It's going to teach you about your competence. It's going to teach you about what it is that you can do. It's going to help you find activities and not say, I'm bored. You're going to be more productive. And then there's this bottom line that you have to experience for yourself. It has to do with the people around you. As you are successful on the program and become more and more aware of how good it feels to be in control of yourself, to recognize that this machine is working more efficiently, to recognize that you can have, because when we're done with the program, there will be no prohibited foods. None. So it's going to be how you eat, not what you eat. And when you are in control, it impacts on everything and everyone around you. I learned, for example, that many people have opinions, very strong opinions, that are different than mine. And when it comes to the program AccuWeight, they have very strong opinions that are different from mine. And what the program taught me is that it's okay. I am my own person. That person says that I am foolish to be living in the way in which I am. That is their opinion. For me, it makes no difference what they say, because for me, I feel good about me for doing what it is that I'm doing. Yet here they are saying to me that I'm foolish, I ought to wake up, don't I know? And here's how I answer. My answer is, thank you. It makes me feel really good to know that you care enough about me to share with me your concerns. That is terrific. And I want to thank you for that. Sometimes, and not rarely, they come back again and they repeat why I'm foolish and I should wake up and I should change. and I listen because it's important to listen. I should respect you, and I hope that you will respect me. And listening is a way of me respecting you. And so again, I will say, thank you for sharing your concerns with me. It makes me feel really good that you stepped up and shared your concerns so that now that I know. Now, you can't engage me in conflictual conversation if you do that. And can I tell you something? It feels good. Now, let's start living. And here is the next piece that's important. You are not perfect. I am not perfect. Much of what all of us learn come from mistakes. If I pay attention and understand the mistake that I make, then number one, I do not have to make that same mistake again. Number two, if I pay attention to my mistake, then I not only can learn not to make the mistake again, but I can learn how to alter so that I grow from it. How many of you have not stopped when you have been in that place where you're tempted? Have not stopped and asked yourself, is the temptation one of having been deprived, or is the temptation there because over your history, food has been used to satisfy some emotional aspect of what's going on? I was very shy as a kid. And one of the things that I did at parties when I was invited to them is I was constantly putting something in my mouth because I was very shy, and when your mouth is full, you don't have to talk. One of the things nowadays, since I'm not putting stuff in my mouth, I've learned to talk. But I've also learned from being a psychologist how important it is to listen and hear what people are saying to you. And that is part of the secret. Listening to what they say is important. Listen to what's behind what they're trying to say to you is also important. We can do this if we pay attention. And what do we have to pay attention to? We have a regimen. Now, let's understand something. Weight loss is a weight loss program. It's not a diet. So just for the sake of discussion, take the thought diet and put it over here. We're doing something for weight loss. And this is what we are doing. We're using these acupressure beads to block your brain's ability to count calories. Now, if your brain cannot count calories, the signal starvation never appears. So your body does not go into starvation mode. It continues to operate normally. Therefore, a problem is caused. And here is the problem. When I'm on the program, I am being calorically starved. I'm taking in, and I'm going to go off 2,000 and say I'm taking in 500 calories. So I'm short 1,500 calories. Within a few days, I should be having a problem because I'm short 1,500 calories a day. That's 6,000 calories in 4 days. Except that doesn't happen. And the reason it doesn't happen is this is a fantastic machine. It has stored fat inside your body as fuel. And since your body doesn't realize the calorie reduction, your liver reaches out to your stored fat chemically, converts some of your fat to glycogen, which is a form of sugar, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, your body is making up for that caloric deficiency with the sugar that comes from the fat in your body. Now, fat does nothing. No matter how you think, you will not find your fat doing anything. It's sitting there waiting to be used. Just like the gasoline in the tank of your automobile. The gasoline doesn't do anything. When you turn on the engine begins to suck some of the gas from the tank, burns it, causes explosions, so the cylinders pop up and down. And if there is no more gasoline, the engine will stop. Wake up. The engine stopped because there is no more gasoline. Your engine is functioning because of the fact that you're using the fat as the gasoline to do that. The difference is we're not emptying out the machine. We're going to be left with fat. It's just we're going to be left with less fat so that the shape of our bodies is going to change dramatically. And we will not get that gaunt, pinched, emaciated look because the structure of your body underneath, the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, the cartilage, will not be cannibalized. So you're losing the bloat and the puffiness, but you don't have that emaciated look. And what does it take? You to be important enough in your own life to say, I'm doing this for me. I'm here right now doing this for me. It makes me feel terrific to know that I can help you understand how to make yourself fuller and better. And at the same time, healthier and in better shape. One last thing. I have been communicating with patients deliberately this past week. I can't do many, but in the conversations, what I have discovered is that people, when they are not fearful of me judging them, because I don't, they share with me things that they're not even fully comprehending. Like the woman who shared with me that she has kids, she's on the program, and when they finish the meal and she's clearing off the table, she eats some of the scraps that are left on her children's plates. It's an old habit for her. She grew up, she tells me, in a very poor family. There never, in her mind, was enough food. And that is the residual. But now that she's aware of it, I've gotten her to put some Tic Tacs when she's cleaning the table so she doesn't do the thoughtless eating. And this week, she said to me, she found it for the first time easier because she's not in the same state she was when she was a child. The Tic Tacs are helping her control. It's not a bad thing. She's accepted the fact that she's not perfect and she does make mistakes. And therefore, to avoid making the mistake, when she puts the Tic Tac in her mouth, the taste of the Tic Tac prevents her from making the mistake. And here's the important thing. Instead of a weakness, she's recognized it's a strength. She's put the Tic Tacs in her mouth. She knows that putting the Tic Tacs in her mouth will stop her from eating the scraps. She knows she's conflicted. She knows that under other circumstances, she would clean off that plate. But she doesn't. And she's losing weight, and she's feeling more and more confident in herself because she's taken control of her life. Thank you. And now let's move to some questions. And if you'll pardon me, I'm going to use my glasses because I need them. Interesting. Question number 1. Is the first appointment free? Everyone is entitled to a full understanding of the acupressure and the AccuWeight program. Therefore, we will do everything we can. What you pay for are the acupressure points. So being on the program for a month means you're purchasing 4 acupressure points. If those points come after your initial appointment, you don't pay for your initial appointment. Most of you combine the two, and so the answer is you don't pay for the appointment, you pay for the acupressure bead being placed on the proper place behind your head. Next question. You used to have a buddy up system. Is it too late to get a buddy? Yes, we did have a buddy up system in the past, and there were rewards, etc., how you did, how your buddy did. We no longer have that buddy up program, but if you ask your consultant or email me, we will try to find you someone to do the program with. And I always recommend that people don't keep the program private, and it's much more functional when 2 people are doing the program so they can share with each other thoughts, advice, concerns, issues, and everyone doing it that way does better. Next question. If I use Ripple, does it need to be unsweetened or can I use original? Number 1, original is fine. There is sugar in the Ripple, but it is less than half of what is found in regular milk. The only Ripple milk that you should avoid is the chocolate, because the chocolate is problematic. So Ripple itself is good, not the chocolate. Oh, here's another one. Is Ripple kosher? The answer is they have what's called a Kuf K. It's a symbol that says Ripple is considered to be kosher. Dr. Schwartz, I was a member around 12 years ago and was thinking about rejoining. I have a lot to lose, but I'm worried as to whether I can do it again. Would I be able to test it out with about 2 weeks detox? And if I'm happy like I was before, could I extend my time on the program? I think this is a very wise question. For whatever the reason is, the person is questioning their commitment. And that's what I interpret am able to do the program with all the pressures that people are under. This, and it's a woman, recognizes that she can do a 2-week detox. And she realizes that if she does the 2-week detox, it's all downhill after that. So the answer to her question is absolutely, whatever the structure is, you work it out with your consultant. The longer you do the program, the better your weight loss is going to be. I was invited to a barbecue next Sunday, but it's a milk day for me. Is there any way I can change it to a veggie day? Would it be okay to eat a little bit late? In the first 2 weeks of the program, I strongly recommend that you don't deviate. You want your body to begin to cleanse and detoxify and get in tune with the program. Other times, we have the special day protocols, and they are set up so that you can indulge in these special occasions, not regularly. You can indulge in these special occasions and probably continue, but maybe lose a little bit less. So knowing what the structure is and how to deal with it becomes important. It's also more helpful if you do a special day that when you restart, you start with the milk days. Next question. Are yogi lemon ginger tea and yogi honey lemon tea, are we able to use them to drink? The answer is yes. All honeys that are infused, and so these teas are infused. They don't have honey in them. They don't have sugar in them. They are perfectly okay because the infusion of the sweetener does absolutely nothing to change its ability to be helpful to you. I'm currently on my 3rd week of AccuWeight, doing fine, but I still feel bloated. What can I do to relieve some of it? First and foremost, and this you need to hear, you can live for weeks without food. You can only live for days without water. If the body becomes dehydrated, you could experience bloatedness because the body is holding on to the water because it wants to survive. 1, drink more water. And number 2, generally speaking, when that's an issue, it also is a problem with electrolytes. And so by adding electrolytes to your drinking should alleviate the problem. Are there any salad dressings I can use? First, there are no commercial salad dressings, but there is a multiplicity of salad dressings in our recipe section. And many of you know that my avocado dressing, which I smile every time because it is delicious, is perfectly legal, and it's one when you make it, if you make it with the vitamin C as prescribed, will last for 6 days, which means 2 veggie, 2 dairy in the middle, 2 veggie. It'll last for 6 days and you will not have to remake it every time you do. But go to the website. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me on our journey. I enjoyed having you. I'm going to be looking for more questions and focus you to be more successful. Take care. Talk to you soon.